Well, now we're recording. So we are animating bubbles on for the music video for the Three Metal Pigs. And this is as a giant rock has come down and crushed the skull of our sea beast. So I am adding right now the impact bubbles. Doing them in a solid color right now. Doing basically what's called a clean rough. And afterwards I will go in and add all the details to the bubbles. And it is just as exciting as it sounds. But I actually love doing this. Hey. Okay. Boom. One more bubble to go on the initial impact. And the chat right now is open, so if you have any questions about what I'm doing or about the Three Metal Pigs, I'm happy to answer as I work. Okay. First batch of bubbles. Good. All right. So that's that ring. Gonna work. Setting up some more. I have one that's coming out behind. I'm gonna go turn a light on so I can actually see my keyboard. It's getting dark now that the sun's going down. Okay. this impact a little more interesting. Focusing in here a bit. Okay, so he's coming up, and I've given him a little accidental twist, but I'm going to keep it, follow it, because I do love a happy accident. This guy's kind of going straight up, so I'm going to follow his path. So each bubble a separate drawing or all in one drawing node? I am doing them all in one drawing node. If I was animating them by a peg, then I would put them in one drawing node each. And so I will do that in backgrounds and stuff where I'm just having bubbles that are on a loop or something that are just coming up randomly in a background. So I have done that in a few scenes. For something like this, I'm going to draw them all on one drawing node. I will probably, in the end up making a second drawing node, and I'm pretty much doing this all over again, just so the bubbles will cross each other and have varying transparencies. Yeah, no, if I put every single bubble on its own drawing node for something like this, that would be one heck of a messy scene. So it all depends on the situation, how I handle the effect. If I'm following a character, I'll make one node that is all the little bubble trails that will follow that character, and then if there's more than one character, each one gets their own for their bubble trails. In one of the shots I worked on with the drummer in it, he has a few bubble trail nodes, and I was starting to do a third one where each of the drums he hits caused bubbles, but it started to look too busy, and I didn't want to take the attention off his amazing drumming. Bubbles are something you can go really overboard with really easily. When I was working on Big Blue, it took us several months to finally find the happy place for the bubbles. How many bubbles would follow a character, exactly how many frames each bubble would last for. In the end, it ended up being 6 drawings. 6 drawings per each bubble that would trail off of them. It's a science. There's so many ways to do the bubbles. Something like this, I'm kind of approaching it the same way I would a dust impact. Just has more individual pieces. There we go. Okay. Got 2 bubbles intersecting here. Whoop, there goes my pen again. Delightful dead nub. See, we have a few more people who have joined. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. I will try to keep looking over at the chat as I'm overwhelmed with bubbles. Be it a technical animation question or something about the three metal pigs. I'm happy to answer it all. And I'm going to try and do this every week. What tablet am I drawing on? Right now I am using a Wacom with a very, very flat, dead nib that I need to replace so badly. Probably moving this one too fast. Slow it down. Oh my god. Learn how to draw, Corey. There we go. Alright, I'm just going to focus on this guy here. Since he seems to be giving me the most problems. Alright. Nice. Okay. This guy is going this way. Switch over to drawing mode so I can actually see what I'm doing here and I don't have other rocks and stuff falling in front of my face. Alright. Okay. This one's going down, so I'm going to slow it down a lot faster than the other ones and give it a slight direction change as it's losing momentum, because it's full of air, so it wants to go up. So as it becomes more of a circle, it's going to start going up. Okay, that was the last one. Boom. Oh, I missed one. Aha. Have I always wanted to do effects? No, I have not always wanted to do effects. I originally wanted to be a classically trained animator working for Disney, and I wanted to go to college for that. And then life got in the way, and then I got into 3D modeling and animation for a very big chunk of my life. And I just always wanted to get into 2D animation. I wanted to draw for a living. And by the time I was breaking into that industry, everybody was animated, doing puppet animation. And that didn't really interest me. I started doing rigging just to get my foot in the door. And while I was rigging, I met my mentor, who decided to, because while I was rigging, I ended up starting to do props, and while I was doing props, I started giving versions of the props that would allow the effects team to be able to just in between things, and that impressed him, so he brought me on board and started teaching me effects animation, which is great because I get to draw every day. Cheap viewers on steamboo.com. Great. Alright. Alright. There we go. Alright, so just to break up the monotony a bit, I'm going to go ahead and color these and make them look pretty so you guys can actually see that they are not just purple blobs. Alright, turn off my layers. I'm going to select these on the entire sequence. And the first thing I'm going to do is go into drawings and can optimize and flatten them because of all my brush strokes. That immediately removes all my brush strokes from all my drawings, which is fantastic. Select them all again, then I'm going to change them to my actual bubble color. I'm going to switch my brush to the repaint brush, select my tone color, and yeah, go up to a bigger, chunkier brush because this is all happening fast and I don't have to be all that super neat about it. Why do I have a drawing back here? I'm just going to delete that. There we go. Okay. So we are deep underwater, and so right now my light source is directly above. So I'm going to paint my tone on the bottoms of all my drawings. Just to give them a little bit of depth. Just going to follow them one at a time again. We'll work on that guy too, since they kind of connect up. All right. Cool. Cutter node already set, or a mask so it doesn't overspill into the darker color. Nope, I am just using a repaint brush. So I'm literally only painting where there's already paint. So it's just this little guy up here with the plus next to it. You switch over to that, and it allows you to just draw sloppily in there and still get a nice clean line. Very handy when you are working on rather large scenes like this, and you just need this, especially when you're working on a television show. You typically have to get 5 of these scenes done in a day, so time is of the essence. Since this is my own project, I get to be a little more into the details than I typically have time for when I'm working on a TV show. That being said, when I was working on Red Ketchup, I was often working on explosions that would take me 2 days to complete one shot, because the director and the storyboard artist decided it was really a great idea to have a 500 frame explosion with a moving camera, so everything was on ones. This was a TV show, I'd probably go back and fix this bubble because it's looking really janky. But also, since it's my project, I can go, I don't care. It's moving fast and nobody's ever going to notice. Are the Metal Pigs based off a real band? Is the song an original for the Metal Pigs? The Three Metal Pigs are not based off of a real band, but the lead singer is based off of the guy who's writing the music, Miles Rourke, and um, the music is all actually music that he has worked on for years and never released. So when I originally had the idea and was finally ready to jump on it, I immediately went to him and said, "Hey, these old songs of yours that you're not doing anything with, why don't we do something with it? You can actually release this music. You can write new music." So the series is really going to be a lot of documentary footage of them, and every now and then we're going to release a music video and then release the music everywhere we possibly can, and that's how we're going to pay Miles for using his music, is by releasing it and letting him have the money. And hopefully the animation itself will get popular enough that we can also make some money. As much as I love doing this in my spare time right now, I would love to get paid to do it full time. So I'm going to start trying to promote it a bit more now that we're getting closer to the end game here, and start doing some live streams on Twitch and YouTube, getting more and more bits of video out there, and gonna start writing some actual quick little shorts and do some voice recordings for those, so we can start getting like little 30-second gag reels out on all the platforms while we're still working on getting the actual pilot together. I don't picture us having the pilot together for at least another year. And as we have found out working, at least I have found out working on the music video, okay, some of my character designs need a little bit of a tweak so they're more easily rigged and animated. Yeah, so the song we're animating to right now is called Lake of the Damned, and God, Miles played it for me for the first time well over 20 years ago. I'm old. the song stuck in my head all those years, and I wanted so bad to do something with it. Finally, I am. And it's been great because it's also inspired Miles to start writing more music again, which is great because he's immensely talented. Any project that I've worked on, with him, he's always done the music for. Unfortunately, our last project, Adventure in Your Ear, is no longer available anymore because we stopped paying for it to be hosted. But it was getting quite popular, and he had written some really catchy theme songs for each of our shorts that we worked on. That was not an animated series, it was a comedy radio podcast. Didn't miss any. Yay! Alright, now for the pièce de résistance. Gotta add the highlight. Go back to my regular brush. And this light's from above. I gotta make sure I'm always doing the top. There we go. Okay. Ah, I did miss some. Whoop. I'm doing my highlights on the overlay layer because I'm going to add a bit of a glow to that portion. So it's going to have its own separate node to make it look cool in the end. Oh, missed it. Frame. All right. Let's turn the transparency on the line layer back on. There we go. Let's see these puppies in action. I think they're moving a little too slow. I'm going to remove that frame. this frame. That's better. Now they're a little more impactful. All right. I'm going to make a new layer for the next round of bubbles. Setting that up. Okay. And drawings. Delete. There we go. Okay. This was the final one. So I'm going to really go a little ham-fisted on this. All right. Gonna go a little longer. Gonna go for about half hour more. See how far we get. And I'm gonna call it a night. Go back to that other layer later and add a few more drawings because I took 2 drawings out just to speed up the impact a bit. Yeah, that's going to be a lot more impactful on this last one. So I think it's a little okay that the first round of bubbles isn't quite as impactful because it's not the full impact, so all the bubbles I do on this have to start off moving really fast just to really sell that impact. that's enough. All right. We're going way out here. There we go. Yeah. This one. Alright, I'm gonna hide my animatic. I really don't need it anymore. We're well beyond needing it, and it's in my way. Boom. Oh shoot, I still have my select every drawing on. Ugh. This one's shooting downwards, which means I get to have fun with it again. Slow it down. Start making it rise. Very nice. This will be another fun one. So, when I want it traveling fast, I try to make it kind of one right after the other to itself, so it's just barely overlapping its previous frame, and then as it slows down, I cut that distance in half. I kind of keep it there. And I'm using this outside wall here as my guide, as it's kind of butting up against the pressure, so it's controlling the speed. And the back end is always trying to catch up with it. So now that it is slowed down, I'm going just barely on the outside of it, and I'm letting the air dissipate out of the bubble, so my bubble can start to shrink as it goes. There we go. Boom. Okay. This guy. So as that back end catches up to the bubble's front, that's what allows it to start to get round after giving it that nice big long shape to sell the speed. I can sell it slowing down by bringing it to that natural roundish bubble shape, and then slowly deflating it. Cool. Oh, it's only 9:08. All right. Clean up that little nub that appeared. There. I got one that actually comes up the screen. All right. Whoops. I am going the wrong direction. Okay. Cool. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna switch to select all my drawings, drawing, optimize, flatten, get rid of all my brush strokes, swap the color. Oh no, I did. I put every single drawing on my overlay layer instead of my line layer. I need a process to do that. To fix that issue when you accidentally do that, to just grab it all and move it down a layer. God, that would be a handy tool. Because I do this way more than I care to admit. Which explain why I didn't have to turn off my transparency while I was working. Alright, now everything's on the right layer. Okay, let's turn off the onion skin and go add some tone. Alright, add the highlights. And then we're going to call it a night. Hey, Meg. Thank you. I'm slowly trying to make it look good and finish. Me too. I was supposed to get my running cycle of the terrified bunny this weekend, but I guess that's not happening. I think my senior animator is also doing a test for a hopefully job, so that's good. I would love to see her working again because she is so damned incredibly talented. It's a shame that she's been out of work for so long. Not that most of us can't say the same. Yay! Woohoo! Barbie bubbles. All right. I am calling it quits for the night. Maybe I will pop back on tomorrow while I'm adding the bubble trails to the falling rocks. Huzzah and hooray even. That shall be the end of this. going to go relax and make my partner dinner before she gets home from work. Well, thanks for coming and checking this out, folks. And I will see you all again soon. Cheers.